You just dropped 50 grand on a truck because the salesman said it is reliable. 6 months later, you are staring at a transmission rebuild quote that costs more than your first car. I have torn apart engines that looked like someone dumped glitter inside the oil pan. I have replaced transmissions that failed before the break-in period ended. Some of these trucks should have never left the factory floor. I'm about to show you the worst combinations of engines and transmissions that will drain your bank account and leave you stranded on the side of the highway. Keep watching. 2011, 2016, Ford F250/F 356.7-litre Power Stroke. With 6R140 transmission, Ford released this 6.7-litre Power Stroke after the nightmare 6.0-litre and 6.4-litre years. Everyone thought Ford finally figured it out. Whilst the early models from 2011 to 2014 had emission systems that ate themselves alive, the CP4 fuel pump is a time bomb. When it grenades, it sends metal shavings through your entire fuel system. You are looking at 8 to 12 grand in repairs. Injectors, fuel lines, rails, tanks, everything gets contaminated. The 6R140 transmission behind it cannot handle consistent heavy towing without overheating. The torque converter shudders like a paint mixer at idle after 80,000 miles. Ford released multiple software updates trying to band-aid the shifting issues. Mechanics see these trucks come in with limp mode activated because the transmission fluid turned into coffee from heat cycles. The CP4 pump failure is not an if, it is a when. You either spend 2 grand on a CP 4.2 upgrade kit, or you pray daily, and the EGR cooler clogs up and cracks, dumping coolant into the exhaust. The DPF regeneration cycles happen so often that you will swear the truck is possessed. Fuel economy tanks to 8 miles per gallon during regen. This truck will tow a house. The 6.7-litre makes serious torque, but you better have a separate savings account labelled diesel repairs because you will need it before 150,000 miles. 2007-2019, Nissan Titan with 5.6-litre Endurance 5.8 and 5-speed automatic. Nissan could not figure out how to make a real truck for the American market. The Titan sold like frozen hamburgers at a vegan festival. The 5.6-litre V8 makes decent power, but drinks gas like a 1970s muscle car without the cool factor. You will average 13 miles per gallon in mixed driving. The 5-speed automatic transmission is outdated technology from 2004, and every competitor moved to 6-speed, 8-speed, and 10-speed transmissions while Nissan kept this dinosaur. The transmission hunts for gears on the highway. It downshifts hard when you need to pass. The torque converter fails around 120,000 miles and costs 3 grand to replace at a shop. The rear differential is weak. Guys who tow regularly blow out the ring and pinion gears. The frame rusts like it was dipped in salt water at birth. Nissan used cheap metal that corrodes faster than politicians change their minds. I have seen 10-year-old Titans with frame rust so bad they failed state inspections. The timing chain tensioners wear out and rattle like a box of bolts at startup. If you ignore that sound, the chain jumps timing, and you have a paperweight with wheels. The valve body in the transmission develops internal leaks that cause delayed engagement when you shift from park to drive. This truck has zero resale value. Dealers do not even want them on trade-in. The parts are expensive because Nissan does not move volume. You wanted to save money buying the cheaper truck on the lot. Congratulations, you bought a money pit that nobody wants to buy from you later. 2015-2020, Chevrolet Colorado/GMC Canyon, 2.8-litre Duramax with 6-speed automatic. GM brought back the mid-size truck and threw in a little diesel for the guys who wanted better mileage. The 2.8-litre Duramax came from GM's Thailand plant, where they build these engines for global markets. Americans got the emissions strangled version that hates life. The emission system on this thing's ridiculous. The DPF clogs every 30,000 miles and forces regen cycles that kill your fuel economy. The DEF system throws codes like confetti at a parade. The NOx sensors fail and put the truck into reduced power mode. You are limping to the dealer with a $500 sensor replacement bill. The 6-speed automatic transmission does not know what gear it wants. It shifts rough, especially when cold. The torque converter shudders at highway speeds after 50,000 miles. GM released multiple software updates trying to fix the shift quality, but nothing worked long term. The The high-pressure fuel pump fails without warning. You lose power on the highway and coast to the shoulder while semis blow past you. The crankshaft position sensor goes bad and leaves you stranded in parking lots. The EGR valve carbons up so badly that the engine runs like a tractor at idle. Fuel economy is supposed to be the selling point. You might hit 25 miles per gallon if you drive like your grandma on Sunday. Tow anything heavier than a jet ski, and you are back down to 15 miles per gallon. The truck has no power at altitude because the emissions system chokes the engine worse than a python on a rabbit. You bought this for diesel fuel economy. Instead, you got a truck that spends more time at the dealer than in your driveway. But save yourself the headache and buy a V6 gas engine that actually works. 2014, 2018, Ram 1500 3.6-litre Pentastar with 8-speed ZF transmission ram shoved the 3.6-litre Pentastar V6 into the 1500 as the base engine for guys who wanted a truck payment they could afford. This engine came from the minivan parts bin. Minivans do not tow 7,000 pounds and drive 80 miles per hour on the highway every day. The cylinder heads crack between the exhaust ports. The left cylinder head fails more than the right side. You get coolant leaks, overheating, and white smoke from the exhaust. The repair requires a new cylinder head that costs $2,500 installed. This happens between 60,000 and 100,000 miles like clockwork. The exhaust manifolds crack and leak. You hear a ticking sound on cold starts that gets louder as the manifolds get hotter. The bolts break off in the cylinder head when you try to remove the manifold. You are drilling out broken bolts and hoping the threads survive. The 8-speed ZF transmission acts bipolar. Some trucks shift perfectly for 150,000 miles. Other trucks develop a shudder at 40,000 miles that no amount of fluid changes or software updates can fix. The torque converter clutch engages rough. The transmission hunts between gears on slight inclines. The valve springs fail and drop the valves into the cylinders. Bent valves, damaged pistons, and a $5,000 repair bill. Ram extended the warranty on valve springs after enough owners complained. The oil consumption is terrible. Chrysler considers a quart every 2,000 miles normal. Your oil light comes on between changes like it is reminding you to buy lottery tickets. The multi-displacement system that shuts off cylinders for fuel economy creates more problems. The lifters collapse. The engine misfires on 3 cylinders until it warms up. You wanted the base engine to save money. Instead, you bought a ticking time bomb that drinks oil and cracks heads like eggs. 2007-2013, Chevrolet Silverado /GMC Sierra 5.3 litre, V8 with active fuel management and 6-speed automatic GMs, 5.3 litre V8 is legendary for reliability unless you got one with active fuel management. AFM shuts off cylinders to save fuel. Great idea on paper, terrible execution in reality. The lifters collapse when the system switches between 4-cylinder and 8-cylinder mode. The lifter failure damages the camshaft lobes. Metal shavings circulate through the engine. You hear a ticking sound at idle that progressively gets louder. Eventually, the engine misfires and loses power. The repair requires removing the cylinder heads, replacing all lifters, replacing the camshaft, and flushing the entire oiling system. You are looking at $4,000 to $6,000. The AFM system also causes excessive oil consumption. These engines burn a quart every 1,000 miles. GM says that is within normal specifications. Your oil light comes on constantly. You keep cases of oil in the garage like you are running a quick lube shop. The 6-speed automatic transmission works fine until it does not. The valve body develops internal leaks. The sun shell in the planetary gear sets cracks and grenades the transmission. You lose 3rd and 4th gear on the highway. The rebuild costs $2,800. The torque converter shudders when the transmission is in lockup mode. The shudder feels like driving over rumble strips at 45 miles per hour. Changing the fluid helps temporarily. The problem always comes back. Replacing the torque converter costs $1,500. The flex plate cracks and causes a rattling sound on startup. The water pump fails and leaks coolant. The intake manifold gaskets leak oil. The throttle body carbons up and causes rough idle. The evaporative emission system throws codes constantly. You can delete the AFM system with an aftermarket kit for $500. This solves the lifter failure problem, but voids your warranty. These trucks are solid when you remove the AFM garbage. Leave it stock and you are gambling with expensive repairs. Tacoma guys will roast me in the comments, but at least the GM V8 has power when it is not eating lifters. 2003-2007 Dodge Ram 2500/3500 5.9-litre Cummins with 48 RE transmission. The 5.9-litre Cummins is bulletproof. Ask any diesel mechanic and they will tell you this engine runs forever. The problem is the 48 RE transmission bolted behind it. This transmission was designed for the gas V10 and cannot handle Cummins torque long term. The transmission overheats when towing heavy loads. The clutch packs burn up, the bands wear out, the valve body fails. You lose overdrive on the highway. The truck drops into third gear and screams at 3,000 RPM, trying to maintain 65 miles per hour. Rebuilding this transmission costs $3,000. The torque converter fails around 100,000 miles. The lock-up clutch material flakes off and clogs the valve body. You get harsh shifts, slipping, and delayed engagement. Replacing the torque converter requires pulling the transmission. You are paying labour twice if you do not replace it during the rebuild. The transmission cooler lines crack and leak fluid. The flex plate cracks from the engine vibration. The transmission mount breaks because the Cummins shakes like an earthquake at idle. The shifter linkage wears out and you cannot get the truck into gear. Guys upgrade to a built 48RE with better clutches, bands, and a billet torque converter. The upgrade costs $5,000 but handles twice the stock power. Some guys swap in an Aisin or Allison transmission from newer trucks. Those swaps run $8,000 to $10,000 installed. The engine will outlast the truck body. The transmission will fail 3 times before the engine needs a rebuild. You wanted the legendary Cummins diesel. You got it. But you also got a transmission that belongs in a wood chipper. Budget $3,000 every 100,000 miles for transmission work, or spend the money up front on an upgrade. Either way, you are paying. Toyota Tundra, 5.7-litre V8 with 6-speed automatic, 2007-2021. Toyota built the 5.7-litre V8 to compete with the American V8 trucks. The engine is solid. The transmission behind it has issues that Toyota does not talk about in their commercials. The 6-speed automatic transmission develops a shudder at highway speeds around 80,000 to 120,000 miles. The torque converter, lock-up clutch material breaks down and causes vibration at 45 to 55 miles per hour. Toyota released a TSB for this problem, but no recall. The fix requires replacing the torque converter for $2,000. The transmission fluid cooler leaks into the radiator. Pink transmission fluid mixes with green coolant and creates a strawberry milkshake that destroys both systems. The repair requires a new radiator, transmission flush, and coolant flush. If you catch it late, you need a transmission rebuild because coolant damaged the clutch packs. The secondary air injection pump fails and throws a check engine light. This pump costs $800 from Toyota. The exhaust manifold studs break off in the cylinder head on earlier models. You are drilling out broken studs and hoping the threads survive. The frame rust issue from 2000 to 2008 Tundras carried over into some 2007 to 2009 models. Toyota recalled millions of trucks for frame rust, but the problem persisted. I've seen 2010 Tundras with frame rust so bad that the rear leaf spring mounts rotted through. Toyota used cheap metal that cannot handle road salt. The front brake calipers seize up and cause uneven pad wear. The brake rotors warp after 40,000 miles. The ball joints wear out prematurely, whereas the front differential makes a whining noise that Toyota claims is normal. The tailgate handle breaks because the plastic latch mechanism is garbage. The 5.7-litre V8 drinks fuel like a 1970s big block. You get 13 miles per gallon in the city, and maybe 16 on the highway if you drive like a saint. The fuel tank only holds 26 gallons, so your range is terrible. You stop for gas more often than you stop for coffee. The engine timing cover leaks oil. The water pump fails around 100,000 miles. The alternator dies without warning. The starter motor fails and clicks instead of cranking. These are all normal wear items, but Toyota parts are expensive. An alternator costs $400 at the dealer. Which disaster is sitting in your driveway right now? Drop your horror stories in the comments. If this video saved you from buying a money pit, smash that like button. Subscribe for more such revealing automobile stories.